Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. I'm pretty sure that many of you felt like something in Call of Duty is just not adding up. You know, matches where your team ignores objectives, kill cams that make no sense, and gameplay that feels off. You know, like it's not even human. Well, today we're diving deeper into Black Ops 6 and its strange bot-filled lobbies, questionable kill cams, and even leaked playlists like Phalanx Testing. So stick around because this isn't just another rant, this is about uncovering the bigger picture. So let's rewind a bit to set the stage. When Black Ops 6 dropped earlier this year, I jumped in with the same excitement as many of you, but within the first few days, I noticed something strange. I would join games that were already halfway done, and even if my team was losing, I would somehow carry them to victory, despite their complete lack of effort. They wouldn't play objectives, collect tags, or even seem to care about the match. It was as if I was playing with actual bots. And as you can see, this is an unlisted video from November 5th, and it's called "Are We Playing with Literal Bots? My Struggle with Skill-Based Matchmaking and Engagement-Optimized Matchmaking." Fast forward a few days, you know, I'm playing, recording, and I'm sick at home, so I take the time to really analyze the kill cams because it just felt off, you know, and they were weird, like players locking onto targets with pinpoint accuracy one moment, then moving like they forgot how to use a controller the next, and that they always kinda sense where you are. You know, they have weird movement, they move like no person would move, and it wasn't just bad aim or lag, you know, it felt off. People say, yeah, the kill cams are not the real recreation of what happened. Yeah, I know that, but I can distinguish between a kill cam of someone who is real, like a real player who killed me there, or if it just doesn't make sense, you know? It felt like there was some kind of AI intervention going on. And this again is where things get even more interesting. You know, the playlist that I talked about that got leaked, called Phalanx Testing. Now, I'm not saying this is connected, you know, but when you see a term like that in a Call of Duty game, it raises questions. Questions we're going to dig into later in this video because first I have to explain some other stuff. You know, we have to focus on what's happening in these lobbies that I was talking about. And yeah, the lobbies themselves felt weird, you know, from day one I started noticing patterns that didn't make sense in a typical multiplayer match. For example, in Hardpoint, my teammates wouldn't touch the objective. Like, they refused. The timer would be ticking down and they would just stand there or wander aimlessly around the map, like, you know, do anything except playing the objective. And it got even stranger in Kill Confirmed. You know, you have to imagine this. We're leading like 74-69 with 40 seconds left. And all my team needs to do is pick up this one dog tag to win. Just one. And yet nothing happens. Nobody collected that tag. And we end up losing because my team seems completely incapable or unwilling to finish the match. Now, if we move to the kill cams that I've mentioned, I've uploaded another unlisted video on November 14th, and it's called Shadow Banned or Bot Filled. These Black Ops 6 kill cams don't add up. And it's like a compilation of kill cams that I've collected over the days where I was like, there has to be something going on with this game because it just doesn't feel right, you know? And I had the most bizarre kill cams in there. Like, you would see players with what looked like aimbot precision one moment, snapping directly to the targets, and then immediately afterwards moving as if their controller somehow disconnected. You know, it wasn't just bad gameplay, it felt artificial. But the more I played, the more I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something bigger going on. And when we tie this to the Phalanx Testing soon, it will all make sense. You'll see why this might not be a coincidence. And to make it even weirder, if you pay close attention, you'll notice something. Like, most of these strange kill cams involve players with generic calling cards and emblems. You know, they all seem to use the same perks as well. Either all having the green perks, red perks, or blue perks, you know, but nothing in between. And they all play in the same suspicious way. You know, I'm not saying that every one of these are bots. I know that there will be real players in these lobbies, but the kill cams I'm about to show you are weird, and I refuse to believe that these are real people. So Enjoy! Alright, and now let us talk about some of these kill cams. And you've probably noticed it too. There are some patterns, there are moments in kill cams where it feels like players kill you without even seeing you, and sometimes these players pull off insane flicks with ridiculous movement, firing shots randomly without even aiming properly, and it just doesn't make any sense when you watch it back. For example, I had this one kill cam where this guy snipes me. You know, I replayed this clip multiple times and it looks so off because after he kills me, he does this weird flick as if he's already aiming at the next enemy. I think you know which clip I mean. Then we have this one weird map, I don't even know how you call it, but you can see how the player seems to feel that I'm behind that wall. He walks around that corner, aims down sides as if he knows I'm there, then unaims, because obviously he doesn't see me, but the second I appear, he suddenly aims again and shoots. It's like he knows exactly where I am without seeing me. Another example is this player, LeBron James, I guess he's called, at the exact same place on that map. He's doing a possible thing, like it looks weird, like aiming and shooting simultaneously while injecting a stim shot at the same time. Like it just doesn't look right, and he kills me twice. And I'm like, what is this movement? What is this guy even doing? How did he kill me? And I think one of the craziest clips, the one that I have also in the beginning of the video, is that the opponent, probably a bot, couldn't have seen me and he didn't hear me either, but somehow he feels my presence, you know, he pre-aims where I was going, that door, but I switched directions completely to that window, and instead of being confused, he somehow tracks me perfectly to the window and kills me there. Like, how does that make sense? If you look at the kill cam, this guy is moving like a bot. He has no destination. He just aims somewhere on the ground, and then he's like, ooh, let me aim to that door, and then he's like, oh no, let me aim to that window, and all of a sudden I appear there. Like, this is not a coincidence. This is weird, guys. And if you pay close attention, I know I've mentioned it before, but you can see that these players have generic calling cards and emblems. They all seem to use the same perks as well. Either they all have green perks, red perks, or blue perks, but nothing in between, and they all play in the same suspicious way. And also another thing, if you pay close attention, if you're someone who is sensitive to stuff and notices change and patterns and all that stuff, you might have noticed these weird kill cams with people pulling their grenades, cooking them for a few seconds, then just throwing them, and all of a sudden they just sense that you're somewhere else and they just shoot you. You know what I mean? It's just not a coincidence anymore. These are patterns, and you can't deny these patterns. I'm serious. Try to explain to me why these kill cams look the way they look. And that's why I argued that these are shadow banned lobbies, because people look like they use wall hacks and aimbots. But now, guys, bear with me. Listen carefully now. And this is just a theory. I'm just trying to connect the dots here, right? We've talked about the patent in my last video. Shout out to Blame Truth again for mentioning that. It's nice that I could contribute again to shed some light on this issue. And it explained how NPCs are kind of disguised as human players. And we had people arguing that they use your offline account, like they use the info and all that stuff. Now, guys, some of you will say, oh, what is he smoking and what is he doing? But I'm just trying to connect the dots. I'm just trying to give the most reasonable answer here. What if most of the people are shadow banned because these bots are using your offline data? If you watch these kill cams, some of them that I just showed you, you are like, what is going on? You'll just report these people. So one day, these people log in and they're shadow banned. Why? Because other people reported their bot account. It is just a theory. You can call me a conspiracy theorist or something. I am just connecting the dots. And I was being very suspicious of this game in the first week. I have proof. I have uploaded these videos unlisted for myself. I knew that something was going on. And it feels like in the beginning, when the game launched, obviously, these bots weren't really trained, because they had no data to learn and adapt and all that stuff. And the video that you saw in the beginning, the one that is also linked in the description below, the game played very, very differently. I was placed into lobbies where my team was losing, but in the end, I would be the one who carried the whole team and we would win that. And this was my experience for the first 2 days. I had a 3 to 4 KD sometimes for a couple of games. I was just playing and I realized, why am I, or the question that I asked myself really was why am I the person who is always the best in the lobbies? I was always the best person in the lobby 9 out of 10 times. You can watch that unlisted video of mine. I think I'm saying that there. Bear in mind, I was sick and I was just yapping, but I knew that something was off. And if you connect the dots, I don't know what other questions you can ask, what other issue or whatever it is, what can explain these weird kill cams, and this again is me asking you guys, the whole community, to explain this, please. My brain is just trying to connect millions of things at once, and I lose myself sometimes. But now, let us dive into Phalanx testing and let's see if we have a potential explanation. I'm not saying that what I'm saying is proof. It could be a potential explanation. First, obviously, the question, what is Phalanx? And the term Phalanx originates from ancient military history and was a tight-knit formation of soldiers who moved and fought as a single unit, prioritizing coordination and strategy. And the word implies precision, discipline, and unified behavior, which makes it an intriguing name for something potentially tied to game development or matchmaking systems. And now you might ask yourself, how could Phalanx testing be implemented in matchmaking? Well, in the context of game development, Phalanx testing could refer to an internal testing mechanism disguised as a public matchmaking playlist. So developers might use these environments to test AI behaviors in real time, including bots mimicking player movements or decisions. They could also simulate various skill levels or scenarios like uneven teams or comeback situations. And they could obviously optimize engagement metrics, ensuring players stay hooked without feeling frustrated. And if we consider the complexity of matchmaking algorithms, especially with systems like skill-based matchmaking, which we don't have in Call of Duty, more like engagement-optimized matchmaking, it's plausible that certain lobbies might serve as life experiments. And you might ask now, why is this possible? Well, game development relies heavily on live data collection. Public lobbies provide unmatched scale and diversity, making them ideal for testing without requiring separate player pools. Leaks like the Phalanx playlist hint that developers could be running such experiments. It's not just a speculation. History shows us that games often introduced unannounced or poorly communicated changes for testing purposes. I could be wrong, but it feels like sometimes that Activision is lying, gaslighting, using us as guinea pigs, not telling us about changes or anything. And it's just a thought and it's not proof for anything. So people don't need to go into the comments and say, oh, this is not proof for anything. I'm not trying to prove anything here. I'm just trying to connect the dots based on the facts that we have. And some people seem to miss that. But anyways, if we try to connect the evidence, when we think about the strange kill cams, bizarre bot-like teammate behaviors, and uncanny awareness, so to say, from opponents, it starts to feel less random. Maybe these aren't just bugs or poor AI implementations, but deliberate tests to fine-tune algorithms, and it's not just me saying this. Many players feel like something is off because the kill cams don't add up, teams don't behave as expected in objective modes, and opponents show unnatural levels of awareness while your teammates are just existing, you know? And I'm not here to say this is definite proof. Like I said, I'm just a guy connecting the dots, you know? I'm critical, I question things, and I thrive on exploring controversial ideas. But at the end of the day, this all feels too coordinated to be a coincidence. You know, and if phalanx testing is real, what does it mean for us? Well, fairness. Are players unknowingly placed in experimental lobbies skewing the competitive experience? Probably. I would say so. Then we talk again about transparency. Should developers disclose if live testing affects matchmaking? If you ask me, yes. But some nice dude, girl from Activision, I would say leaked these playlists. You cannot tell me that this wasn't done on purpose, because there's probably people working there knowing exactly that what the stuff that they're doing is wrong. So they're just like, you know what? The game is cooked anyways. I'll just leak this stuff. And I'm grateful for it. And then, last but not least, we have trust. Does this erode faith in the matchmaking system and the game overall? Yes, since years. Since years, the player base doesn't trust Activision's matchmaking system. They don't trust nothing. And you know, I could talk about this for a whole day, but this is bigger than just me. You know, more players need to investigate this because we need better evidence, deeper tests, and most importantly, transparency from the developers. But I argue that we won't ever get transparency, since this is what they don't do since over a decade. And the strange behaviors we've seen might make more sense as we explore this concept further, guys. And now, guys, I want to talk about one more thing before I wrap things up. Let's just take a couple minutes to talk about DMZ. What is it? Where does it come from? And why is it such a big deal in Call of Duty? DMZ stands for Demilitarized Zone, and in military terms, it's an area where combat is restricted, a sort of neutral ground. Though in Call of Duty, it's anything but neutral, you know? It was introduced as part of Warzone 2.0, and DMZ is a high-stakes sandbox mode where players are dropped into the map to complete missions, fight enemies, both AI and human, and extract loot. Think of it as Call of Duty's take on Escape from Tarkov, so to say. It's like a mode where every choice matters, you know, and every encounter could mean losing everything you've worked for. But DMZ isn't just about survival, you know, it's also a testing ground, because Call of Duty has used this mode to introduce new mechanics, AI behaviors, and experimental gameplay loops. And the AI in DMZ, for example, isn't just there for fun. You know, they're designed to challenge players dynamically, reacting to how you play. Sometimes, though, their behavior feels odd, like it's too perfect or strangely robotic, you know, and that's where some of the questions start coming in. And then we have missions in DMZ that are called Phalanx. And on the surface, it's just another objective in a long list of challenges, you know? But with a name like that and the emphasis on tight coordination, could it be a clue about something bigger? Maybe DMZ isn't just about gameplay. Maybe it's also about testing systems that go beyond this mode. And as far as I know, we don't have Warzone 2.0 anymore. We don't have DMZ, so the only way to test these things are in public lobbies. Alright, so here we are. After everything we've talked about, the phalanx testing, DMZ, the weird bot behavior, let's be real. Activision is playing a very dangerous game. They've built an empire on player trust, but that trust is eroding. The player numbers don't lie, the cracks are showing, and they can't hide it anymore. You know, we're getting closer to exposing something bigger here, and something they don't want us to see. And if they think they can keep brushing this under the rug, nah, the community won't let that slide anymore. And again, this isn't just me ranting into the void, it's all of us asking questions, connecting dots, and refusing to settle for the status quo, you know? And honestly, I love it. I never thought I would enjoy YouTube as much as I do now, but here I am, sharing this journey with you all. And I didn't start this to become a YouTuber, so to say, or a content creator. I was just sick. I saw Black Ops 6 was on Game Pass, thought I would give it a shot, and well, I got railed so hard it felt like I was the only one being played in these lobbies, and that's when I knew something was off. And down the rabbit hole I went. And even the support you've shown me means the world to me, guys. Like, this community that I have already, it's why I keep going. You know, literally. Thank you so much. But let's also not kid ourselves. You know, there are people out there too afraid to even consider the possibility that something's going on. It's easier to stay in their comfy little bubble, you know, pretending everything is fine. But that's not how I roll, you know. I ask questions. We have to ask questions, especially when it comes to Activision. Their history demands scrutiny, and the patterns we're seeing right now, they're just worth digging into. Anyway, that's it for today. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe, guys, to help push this video out to more people. Let's keep this conversation going, keep the pressure on, and keep asking the tough questions, guys. Until the next time, stay critical, stay curious. But before I go, I just want to wish you all a happy new year. Let's make 2025 the year we keep digging, keep questioning, and keep pushing for better. Bye, guys.